news articles this week because I finally got over the loss of iGoogle and actually developed myself a homepage where I can do shit that I used to do all the time. But
Like you just went to feedly.com and said, I'll sign up for your RSS feed?
no, which one am I using? I'm using IG Home, which is
Okay.
essentially just a different iGoogle. But so it's Monday. Happy Memorial Day, Billy,
Happy Memorial Day too. You as well.
to all the veterans and folks that gave all they could give and then some. So it's not about a 3-day weekend, but it kind of is. So you're back from your honeymoon. How was that? How was Mexico?
It was amazing. Going to Chichen Itza was like the coolest thing ever. Just standing there and be like, how the hell did people build these monolithic structures? I can't build any of this.
Yeah, they.
No, it was a lot of fun. It was great to just like unplug, because like every day at work I'm on a computer all the time, and then I come home and you're either watching Netflix or on your iPad or on your computer doing something. But it was nice for the two of us just to be like, all right, no phones, besides turning them into cameras essentially. It was just unplugging and relaxing, and it was amazing. So that was super fun.
Excellent. That's great.
I didn't get tan though. Everyone says you thought you went to Mexico, and I was like, well, yeah, but I only come in two colors, white and red.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and then I noticed your beard was gone, so I got distracted by that. Like that took priority for whatever reason. But I was like, you went to Mexico, right? Like this wasn't a joke.
I put a lot of sunscreen on. When you turn on the TV and on the Mexican weather channel for Cancun, it says UV index at -11. I was like, that's got to be terrible. I'm gonna put tons of sunscreen on. I've never heard weather tell me there's a UV index, so.
Jesus. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen where we're from.
No. So it was like sunscreen all the time. I got a little burnt. The only spot that I got burnt was like the top of my foot a little bit, so I think I made out all right.
Cool beans. Well, glad that was a good time. Not a whole lot has happened. We had a couple crazy episodes, Monday Night Leftovers. But other than that, not a huge amount of news from my end. What did you do since you got back? You got back on Tuesday, Monday?
Monday, yeah, we got back Monday. The first thing I did is, I didn't even know Wolfenstein was out, so I missed the pre-order because I was gonna pre-order it like the day before it came out, but it came out the day that we got back. So I got Wolfenstein New Order right away. And installed that, which took like 10 hours, it felt like, to download the entire thing. It's like, I don't know, it feels like I downloaded 80 gigs of stuff. Just raw, not compressed.
Yeah, not compressed video. Yeah, thanks, Max Payne 3.
And you know how, like, usually when Steam, you click on the thing, it has to go through the installation process?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even do that. I just hit play, and all of a sudden it's already the Bethesda logo and the whole 9 yards. I'm like, wait, what? So I don't know if this is something that like Steam is doing, or if this is just the way that game was packaged and put up there. But I felt like I just literally pulled down raw files and then hit play, go.
Interesting.
Ever. Yeah. So I don't know. Keep an eye out on that. Maybe I missed something, but I was just like, I was completely baffled that that's how that worked. But I played through.
That's usually not how that works. That doesn't happen often.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is not working right. They changed something while I was gone. I didn't really pay attention to a whole lot of news. But I played through that. I finished it right before the start of the weekend. Well, actually, no, I finished it Saturday morning, right before we left to go camping. And that game is really good. Like, that is way better than I could have hoped for, imagined, or expected. Like, it's just super well done. It feels like a classic shooter with a lot of modern stuff in it. It gives you the levels are they're not also just linear hallways. Yeah, there's actually a little bit of exploration that you can do. I guess there's 2 timelines I don't know what all changes, but in the beginning you kind of make a decision and it puts you on two different paths. So when you go to like load the game, I only have the one timeline I chose. I don't have the other timeline, so I kind of want to see what differences that makes, which I think is interesting. All the guns feel good. The shooting feels good. The story beats are very well done. I was kind of surprising. I was like, oh, you guys are trying to be like serious in a Wolfenstein game. It's like, I'm running around doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and then he's having like deep thoughts from BJ Blazkowicz. I was like, oh, okay, didn't expect that. But it was a nice change of pace. So
the game took itself pretty seriously?
It does in certain parts. Yeah, it takes itself pretty seriously. Like, and I think all the characters are really well realized. I think they do a very good job, and I think that's what put it in sort of this weird context, because it was like, well, this is a Wolfenstein game. This is going to be absurd and crazy, and I'm just going to be like no-name hero dude going balls to the wall, and just that's it. But also it was like, oh, wait, I actually enjoy these characters. They've been very well realized. They're awesome to talk to, and VJ Blazkowicz has actually a personality and kind of understand where he's coming from and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, it was interesting. It kind of makes me wish Machine Games was doing Doom 4, because they did such a good job with this. I mean, this is ex-Starbreeze guys who did Riddick and The Darkness, which I thought were really, really good. But yeah, I mean, it feels great. I definitely want to play through it again and try to do the second timeline, get all the collectibles and stuff like that. I'll probably just play with the guide open. I didn't feel it was. I was watching the quick look with Brad on Giant Bomb, and I don't know if it's just because he's playing on console, but normal for him seemed like the hardest difficulty in the world, and normal for me seemed really easy. Granted, I was playing on PC, so I don't know. I might try to play it on a harder difficulty, but usually on the second time through, I put it on easy, because it's like, all right, just
trying to plow through this. Yeah.
Yeah. But I liked it a lot. I'm glad they stuck to doing just a single-player sort of experience. I think I clocked in at around 8 or 9 hours on it. I'm hoping they do some story DLC, because they kind of, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, because every game in the history of the planet does this now, along with every movie. They leave it open.
Yeah.
So there could be some DLC. But once I did finish it, and I was like, oh, I have no more Wolfenstein to play. I wish they had enemy territory multiplayer on this. I mean, I'm glad they didn't, but yeah, it's really good. I think everyone should get it. It was I hope it does well, because I feel it is a dying breed of game.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, it seems to be doing well. It's reviewing exceptionally well. I mean, you want to get new people into the franchise. I mean, there's plenty of old Wolfenstein fans that are going to buy it, but you also need to convince new people to buy it. And hopefully it is doing that. I don't have numbers or anything, but it seems to be doing well. Everyone is giving it positive reviews. So, yeah, I mean, there's a German version with no Nazis somehow, so that's a bit fascinating.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Changed it to the regime.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like $60, 10-hour just hardcore single player narrative experience, like that is not. Those aren't going to be happening very often. So everyone should definitely get it and play it and give those guys the credit they deserve, because they did to me something really risky, and they did a really good job at doing it.
Excellent. I got the art book and looked through that. I usually don't do that before I play a game, but I was really interested in seeing the art and stuff, and the art book's fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to playing it.
That's another, like, I looked through it too, and the amount of effort they did to fully realize the sort of 1960s run by Nazis, like, they did a really good job sort of creating this very pulpy alternate.
Your cat almost biffed it.
Walking on the danger zone. But like, they do a really good job creating that sort of pulp alternate universe and kind of sticking to it. So that's where some of the when it gets kind of serious, you're like, wait, it's got this pulpy.
Your cat is going bananas right now.
Yeah, she's just doing her thing. She was probably just woke up, so.
Some hopped up, ready to go.
But yeah, I hope that it does well. I'd like to see another one from them or some DLC. I'm excited for that.
Right on.
Other than that, I've been playing Reaper of Souls, trying to finish that up because I bought that. I don't know what I think about it. Like, I mean, I picked the Crusader. I played through the entire regular Diablo campaign again. So I'm just getting to the Reaper of Souls stuff. And I don't know what they did, but you can kind of autopilot through that entire game now. Like, at least on normal. I mean, I played on normal, so I don't want to say, like, you know, it's super easy all over the place. But, like, there was a time where I was playing, and I'm in hell, or not hell, but Sanctuary at the end, right before you fight Diablo, and I have, like, a horde of guys around me, and I'm the Crusader, and I'm just standing there, and then I had to run downstairs for something, so I run downstairs to go get something. And I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot to, you know, you can't pause Diablo, so I just run down and do it. I'm like, my guy's got to be dead. I come up, quarter of health gone, probably 2 million guys around me still, and I'm like, oh, and I do his one little, like, falling sword ability, and then I just wiped every single one of them out in one hit. And I'm like, that right there has encapsulated the changes they made for Diablo as a whole, like...
Yeah,
I probably got like 10 legendaries out of it.
Yes. Kev and I have been playing. Kev's out for tonight, but Kev and I have been playing that extensively the last few days because I'm leaving on Friday and I didn't really want to commit to anything major. But after you finish talking about what you've done this week, there's a lot to talk about in terms of Diablo 3 that I have to say. But
well, I mean, we can, yeah, because like I don't know, it's like the way they changed everything and the way they made it so like you get more legendaries. Like on my Demon Hunter on normal, I actually had a difficult time first time through towards the end. But now I just feel like they're constantly giving me stuff, just like a kid in a candy store with an unlimited credit card. Just keep giving it to me. Just keep giving it to me. Just keep giving it to me. I don't know. I guess it does make the game a little bit more enjoyable because it is a Diablo game where essentially just keep clicking until your dress up is complete.
yes.
You know, your paper doll. So I guess they fixed it. They went out and did what they did. But I'm excited to finish the Reaper of Soul stuff because I hear the adventure mode stuff is pretty cool, and I want to try that out
Yes.
before I put it down again until the next expansion comes out.
Anything else? What else have you been up to since you've been back?
That's really it. That and just catching up with work. So yeah, I haven't had a lot of opportunities to play anything. Debating on when I'm going to buy my Xbox One. Now that they're going to sell one without the Kinect, which we can talk about news. I'm of two minds. I'm torn on that.
I am also. I don't know what I think. Like I do, but I don't agree with myself on certain things when I say them. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but we can definitely talk about that.
Yeah, because like I'm gonna get an Xbox, but right now I'm looking like I don't have any interest in playing Watch Dogs. So Destiny is kind of the game that's riding on everything. So it's like if I buy an Xbox now and Destiny isn't what I want it or what I want it to be, or it isn't what they're saying it is, then like, well, then I won't be playing anything on it until maybe the Halo collection comes out in November. So I don't know if I want to wait until the holiday season comes around and they start doing like a Forza bundle or to get some games for free with it. But I definitely want to get one. So that'll happen at some point. But yeah, that's really it.
Right. I have been playing a few things. A lot of Call of Duty. A lot of Diablo 3, and I also beat Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons over the weekend.
I've heard that is good.
That is good. For what it is spectacular. The world they build is awesome. I mean, shit's pretty rudimentary. And I cannot handle the controlling one brother with one stick because it just was extremely hard for me. That didn't take away from the game. I just felt that was a deficiency in myself.
Yeah.
So like it didn't piss me off, and I'm like, God, I can't do this. Like I would have to literally like stop, just give them a full stop, and then start moving the dudes again. Like keep track of who's who and who's what stick. Like it was that was brutal for me, but I think that's just because I'm stupid. But really good game. It's really short. It's about 3 hours. Some really cool hidden stuff to find if you're looking. But the world they create is really really good in that 3 hours. It was definitely worth the $7.50 or whatever I paid for it last year.
Nice.
So I got that out of the way. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. That's is what it is. And then lot of Diablo 3 because I kind of got. I didn't want to start anything that was super going to take up a huge amount of my time before I leave. Or at least something that I wanted to commit to a bunch of time before I left.
Yeah.
So I kind of started playing. I was like, whatever. And then my brother was like, well, let's do the bounties. Because my brother does not give two shits about story. He does not care at all. And adventure mode just cuts all that shit away. So literally all you do is run around and kill things. That is the entire purpose of adventure mode. But there's like 5 or 6 zones, and in 2 of the zones, at any one time, we'll have a set of bounties, and after you get those bounties, let me rephrase. There's bounties in all zones, but there's 2 of those zones that will have bonuses when you complete all the bounties.
Yep.
Where you get extra legendaries and shit after you kill all the like 5 or 6 dudes that you need to kill. So we did that a couple times, a couple days in a row, and I found that to be invigorating, I guess. Because he was on his higher level dude, I was on my higher level dude. I was getting tons of XP. Because the first time I played through on my monk, I had a pretty rough time because I was way under geared. Shit that was dropping was not for me. Like it was for every other class but me. And then I kind of picked it back up after this Loot 2.0 and the adventure mode and Reaper of Souls and all that stuff. And played through Reaper of Souls a while ago. It's another Diablo game, but. The adventure mode stuff is really fun. It gets a bit sloggy, but that's kind of Diablo. But the harder the difficulty, the more legendaries you're gonna get. So they're like some of the social stuff is really cool too, but I'm not gonna get into that. But like we would just run around, kill dudes. It would take with the 2 of us, it would take about 45 minutes to do one set of 5 bounties, and then we're like, okay, that was enough. And then Kev started playing, and Kev's sister bought it recently. So they've been kind of doing their thing, and I've been kind of playing because naturally Kev can't pick a dude. He has one of everything.
Oh, geez.
Female. So I've been kind of starting dudes and leveling them to kind of go with him as he's leveling different guys. But him and I were talking about a lot of things, and like Kev is like. When he talks, it makes him sound super boring because he's like, I don't want a fancy magical like hammer strike. I just want to be able to run up and hit this dude with my hammer. And there isn't a single skill in that game to do that, which all right. But just some of the skills are super dumb, or they are just like all they need to do is like one little thing differently, and it would be totally awesome. There's one where like you're supposed to be shooting out chains, like these holy chains as a Crusader. But they're just white lines, and it looks really dumb. I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with my graphics, but I'm like, if these were actual chains, this would be really cool. Or if when you're chucking your holy hammers around, if it like you could see the hammer form in her hand or his hand or whatever, and then toss it, that would be cool. But instead, it just kind of appears out of nowhere, and then flies away. There's just a bunch of other super ridiculous stuff that.
Are you talking about those spinny hammers that fly around you?
No, there's one where it's like your left click to generate resources where you're kind of chucking a mystical hammer, not the ones that spiral, but you just shoot them straight at you. If she actually like went like this and like the hammer was glowing there and then left her hand, that would be way more awesome to me.
I feel that spiral hammer thing is broken because that's all I do.
It's so overpowered. But that's the way it was in Diablo 2. It's just the paladin from Diablo 2, and hammer paladins were ridiculous in Diablo 2. But it is still... You have to play it with friends. When I play it by myself, the only thing I'm doing is farming achievement stuff. Like, I'm not playing through the story, and I'm not farming for gear. I'm like, oh, I need to go find this journal in this area, so I'm going to go into the area. Oh, the journal's not there. I'm going to log out and log back in and go back into that area and try to find this journal. But like when me, Kev, and Simon are playing, it is super fun, except that Kev cares about the story, and that's kind of a bummer because Simon and I are like, oh, like I've heard everything these people have to say like 6 times. But I don't think Kev's played it all the way through, so I can't harp on him too much. But
yeah.
The adventure mode stuff was way more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. I was really impressed with that. But kind of another thing that has been on my mind about it is that with all these crazy drops, like you said, shit drops like candy. I mean, just stuff is falling out of the sky for you left and right. I haven't gotten too many legendaries that were really good. I've gotten a handful, but most of them sucked.
I've got like 7 legendaries just sitting in my bank that are okay, but I was like, I'd gone from playing through the entire campaign once and getting 1.
I never got one. I had to go to the gold auction house back in the day and buy one. I didn't get a single one to drop my first playthrough. But as nice as that is, like, it is nice. Like, it seems like it's cheap and like a lame way to fix the problems that they inherently had the way they designed it, but it's nice. It's nice to be like, you see that big glowing orange line, and you're like, all right, cool. But what it has done is it is completely, like, crafting makes no sense. Like, there is almost no point in crafting anything in this game, yet it is still, like, you get crafting shit drops all over the place. And I'm just like, why is this here? Like, why is this here? But there's some legendary crafting patterns that I've got, and it seems like what they have done is completely eliminated the need or desire to craft anything, which, again, maybe I'm looking at it completely wrong, and maybe there's people that's the way to go. I don't know. But
yeah.
I've just been doing it for achievements and various other things. So I feel like the way they have changed it has kind of eliminated crafting.
I still haven't used the crafting at all. Oh, excuse me. I'm just like leveling up the dude. I got a couple of patterns that I can do, but yeah, my Crusader's only like level 30, so I'm like, well, half the stuff I get now is all garbage anyways, and the crafting stuff I'll just wait until like the very, very end when I need to do that or I'm looking for something specific.
Yeah.
And then I just got the Mystic Lady or whatever that allows you to transmog stuff.
Yep.
You can make... I don't know how I feel about transmogging stuff. I like it, but then I don't like it. I'm of 2 minds.
Yes.
I like seeing a guy walking around with a huge sword and be like, oh my god, what sword is that? I need to have that sword. And it's like named a specific thing, and it'll always be named that. But I also like the ability to wear whatever clothes I want to wear and have the same stats on it as whatever the best item is.
Yeah, Kev and I were discussing that a little bit today, too, because I am the same way. I'm like, that's kind of half the point of Diablo is, like you said, you kill things until you look like the way you want to look, or you have the gear that you want to have. But if that gear sucks, staring at that gear forever would just really suck. So it is nice to... I don't think I activated the Q&A this week, but...
No, I saw that you did not.
So it's kind of like, yeah, I want to look cool, but it kind of takes away from, like, oh, I got this new piece of gear, I wonder what it looks like. And then if it looks cool, you're like, awesome. But if it looks like a piece of crap, you're like, I have to wear this. You know, it could be 15 levels before I get something that's cool. So I'm kind of in the same boat that it takes away from what Diablo is, but it is a nice quality of life thing that you can do if you want.
Yeah.
But so there's just a lot of things, like Simon and I were also discussing it, kind of like the way he words it is that either the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing, or the left hand and the right hand did not want to do the same thing. and they wanted to make a game that was called Diablo, but was a radical departure, not a radical departure, but a departure from real Diablo, and they wanted to make money on item exchanges. I think that's pretty much where everything breaks down. But
Yeah, I think that initial part, yeah, them making money and the way the loot system was built, that was just hand in hand. You got stuff that didn't belong to you because they wanted you to incentivize you to go to the auction house and trade and do the real money auction house or all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I like the expansion. I think it's a better Diablo game now than it was.
yes, absolutely.
To me, Diablo, for me at least, is anytime it's still about just seeing new armor. If I will get bored of the end game once I'm stuck wearing the same stuff that looks exactly the same, and it's not like I'm not getting new models and stuff on my guy. Because I don't necessarily care about the stats that much, and when I get to the end game, it's just like, oh, I just want to see what this looks like on my guy, and then how badass do I look?
Yeah.
Once I run once I go through the assets for the Crusader, I'm probably done for that game.
That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, it's super easy now. I'd say it's one of the most casual hack and slash RPGs out there.
Well, I mean that's on normal. On normal, yes. Like when I'm chugging through trying to get achievement crap done, yes, I turn it to normal so I can literally just run past everyone and not have to worry about it. But like when Simon and I are doing bounties, I like to knock it up to either expert or master, which is right below like the hardest difficulty.
Torment or whatever.
Yeah. So when you start getting up to there, it's like my brother and I got our asses handed to us a couple of times on master. So it and they really heavily encourage you playing with friends, and because you get extra XP, extra gold, better chance to get better items. So they're really pushing go play with your buddies because we want people to play this game for whatever reason. Some of the social stuff is really cool. Like in Diablo 2, when you join a chat room or whatever, like all the characters, all the players that were in that chat room, their models were at the bottom. And they do that here with your clan, and that's really cool. So you can kind of look through the different people in your clan and see what they have for transmogs or what their dudes look like. So I really like that type of thing. When someone in your clan gets a legendary, it appears on the screen. Then you can click on it and see what kind of legendary it is. So that's really cool. Like, there's just some really cool social stuff.
Are you guys all in a clan on there?
Yes, my brother Kevin and I and Kevin's sister are in a clan from some dude who used to play WoW with us years ago. If you want an invite, I can toss it to you.
Yeah, send me an invite to the clan because the other people other group of friends I have, they're in a clan, but they're in like a super serious clan where like you need to have a certain amount of playtime a week.
There's usually only like me and one other person on, so just when we're done, send me your battle tag and I'll put you in there. But yeah, it is definitely a better game than what it was, but it's just a bummer because the game should have never been bad to begin with. Like, Diablo 3 was not a terrible game, it was a bad Diablo game when it came out. Now it is a better Diablo game, but the fact that it took them, that game has been out, 2 years now? It should not have taken them that long to get it to be what it should have been. Yeah. But playing that has kind of made me want to play some other types of games like that, like Path of Exile or Torchlight 2. Torchlight 2 is fantastic.
I want a different theme. Different, kind of the fantasy, swords and sorcery. Like, give me something else. I don't know what it is, but just...
Well, then go play Marvel Heroes.
Yeah. I did, and I really enjoyed Marvel Heroes, and I thought that was good.
That game is
something else that someone can do in that.
That game is super great. I was shocked at how good that game was.
I would say that game has better particles than Diablo 3 does. That game has like some of the best power effects in a game. Like throwing Wolverine, it looks so cool.
Yeah, I think that is a better game than Diablo on a lot of levels. There's some gimmicky shit in terms of buying stuff because it's free to play, but like I I just don't like comic book stuff. I'm not a big comic book fan, and that's kind of really what broke me. But like Kevin, his brother, a couple of his brothers actually are super into comic books, and they were really big into City Heroes when that was out and stuff like that. So for people who comic books are their jam, that is super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I played the Punisher and just shot shit with rifles all the time, and that was super great. But it did not have staying power for me. But the kind of what turns me off about Torchlight is that it's super cartoony. So I'm not. I prefer the kind of dark and gritty, like Path of Exile or even Diablo to a certain degree, kind of that feel, that aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I haven't. But we can talk about Diablo 3 for a long time. I need to move on to some other stuff that I've done this week. I tried out Steam streaming.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
It actually worked really slick. They just in my brain, I could not understand how it worked by what they had written in Steam. I'm like this, I can't wrap my head around it. But I started up Borderlands 2 on my big computer in my room, and then I had my laptop out in the kitchen, and you have to opt into the beta first, otherwise it's not going to work. But so I was logged in on my client in the kitchen as well, and I plugged the HDMI into the TV, and you're in the client on both machines, and like when Borderlands 2 starts on the computer in my room, the play button, the button that says play Borderlands 2 or whatever, turns into stream, and then you just press that and bam, it's on your screen, and you can, I had my wireless controller in the living room and I was playing it, so it worked pretty slick. My laptop is pretty beefy on its own, so I don't know, like I can't test anything like kind of where shit starts to break down in terms of the visuals, but
well, it's just processing video and input, right? I mean,
right.
It's not doing any rendering on its own, so your main machine should be doing all the rendering. I want to see if like a Surface 2, can stream to a machine, to a TV or something, or a Surface 3.
It needs to. There's some requirements on the Steam page where it's like it needs to be able to do some type of video encoding and decoding. Like there's some specifics to it that I don't understand because I don't know much about that. But like I said, my laptop's pretty beefy, and I don't need streaming. I just wanted to test it out because I have a big HDMI cable running through my roof. But so it works pretty slick. I'm excited to see what people can do with it, and it is nice to have if I didn't have the setup that I have now. Like if what I have now was not an option, this wouldn't be a great solution, because my laptop is $1,300 2 years ago. So kind of what can you get away with? Can you get away with it on a $200 machine? Can you get away with it on a $400 machine?
Well, I'm going to ask a guy at work built a $200 computer that's going to be a streaming box. He read the minimum requirements, and this kind of falls in the middle, and it's $200, not including the case. And he said if it works, he'll give me the new egg sheet and everything like that. Because I would like to, like, for $200, if you get a couple of TVs in your house, you put 2 or 3 of those around, you could stream games to whatever room you currently want to be sitting in.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if I hadn't unrolled the solution that I had, because very luckily the apartment that I live in was wired or built perfectly for it. Like it could not have gone any better, just because it was built well. So like if the next place I live that's not an option, I don't want to drill, or I can't drill holes in the walls, or I just can't run the cable in a way that is, I'm not going to have it hanging out in the hallway. So it is nice to have that if I need it. I also shot some guns this weekend. Went to the indoor range and put a couple hundred rounds through an Uzi. That was super fun. Exercising my right to bear arms, I guess. Super expensive though. It was about $200. So if that's what you're into, make sure you bring some money.
Can't bring your own bullets?
No, it's because it's like you can't bring candy into a theater. That's how they make a lot of their money.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, obviously, we don't. If you own a gun, you don't, and you're going to bring it in and shoot it, you don't have to pay for a rental. We rented an Uzi, so you have to pay for the rental of the gun, the rental of the lane for the for the hour that we used it, targets and bullets, and that added up to about $170.
That's so cool. I gotta find a place that allows you to do that around here.
Yeah, it's super fun, but that is about it. It's 8:30. Let's move on to some news. Couple random things I want to get out of the way. Donald Sterling signed the Clippers over to his wife. I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't want to get into discussing Donald Sterling and how terrible of a human being he is, but they were going to force him to sell his team, so instead he signed it over to his wife, which I thought was interesting. I don't know what it's going to lead to or what it means from a legal standpoint or to the league or anything, but I was like, yeah, all right.
Sounds like a loophole.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. Another kind of just random thing, the state of Rhode Island used a firm, a banking firm or a financial firm to create the loan to give to 38 Studios to have them be there, and then obviously 38 Studios closed. So that firm, that financial firm, is actually in litigation by the state of Rhode Island due to being like not necessarily dishonest, but kind of leading the state on, saying yes, this will bring in a lot of money, this will succeed, this will generate a lot of revenue for Rhode Island, this could generate a whole game development community and make us a superpower. So the case against them is that they misled a lot of the runners of the state of Rhode Island. However, the state has decided to rehire that same firm to kind of manage their finances. They decided to re-up its contract with First Southwest over picking a different financial advisor. The only other option was the Providence-based PMF Group. A spokesperson told the Providence Journal that while the state's treasury was aware of ongoing litigation against First Southwest, the treasury was not involved in bringing the lawsuits or issuing the 38 Studio bonds. So that is bananas, because that closure left on the state of Rhode Island $89 million that the people of that state have to pay. So just a crazy thing. It put together the plan, the Rhode Island Economic Development Corporation, which is now rebranded the Rhode Island Commerce Corporation, to give 38 Studios a state-backed loan of $75 million in 2010. They then sued 38 Studios and a host of associated individuals and companies, including First Southwest, in November 2012 as a result of bankruptcy proceedings that left state taxpayers on the hook for $89 million. So, kind of zany. Just a random bit of interesting news that blew my mind. Hi, Trista. How's the moving going? I can't hear you.
He has no microphone. No microphone.
Couple other, well, Trista's getting her stuff working. A couple other tidbits of news. Witcher 3 has been delayed till early 2015, which bums me out, but they have promised that will be the last delay. And they have also said that they will not have any platform-exclusive content. Which,
good, because that stuff's stupid.
Yes, and CDPR does not deal with that shit. So that was cool. Wasteland 2 finally has a release date. It is going to be in August at some point. So that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Because that's been in beta for like a year and a half.
Yeah, forever.
So that's cool. Alienware has stated that the Steam Box is going to be the least profitable system they have ever sold, which I didn't think anyone bought Alienware anymore, but apparently people do. So that was interesting because then one would think, well, why are you trying to sell it if it's not going to make you much money? And it's because Steam is responsible for 30% of all PC sales, like in terms of software, and Alienware wants a piece of that pie, despite how little it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh well, not whatever, man, go nuts. And that leaves us with the Kinect discussion. That is all I have left on my list. Any news from you before we talk about the Kinect?
Trying to think. No, that's really the only big thing besides all the Halo stuff.
Let's talk about the Halo stuff because I didn't really read much about it.
So I guess we're getting a Halo pack for the Xbox One, which have like the redone version of Halo 1, the redone version of Halo 2, which are true HD remakes, which I really like what they do, where it's actually, here's all new models and art and graphics and the whole nine yards, not just it runs at a higher resolution, because that's such a cop-out. For 1 and 2, and then it'll be Halo 3 and 4. Reach will not be in there. ODST will not be in there. It's just the numbered ones. Then Guardians will be next year. I'm sure we'll see some of it at E3 this year, which is pretty cool. And then I guess the Steven Spielberg TV show might go to Starz. Was it Starz or Showtime? It wasn't HBO, so that's how I was just like, oh, okay. So that'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Hopefully it's good. Hopefully, I mean, I would like a sci-fi Game of Thrones quality show.
Yeah, and I think the Halo lore is probably some of the best science fiction lore out there. And just the universe is so well thought out and so well put together. But that's coming from a guy who's a Halo fan, so take that with a huge grain of salt.
Oh, speak of the devil, there was an update to the 38 Studios nonsense today, which is basically just people saying that the state should repay the debt. I don't know. This is a pretty long article, so I don't have time to read it. But the fact that the 38 Studio shit is still going on blows my mind. But I will. I'm gonna read this article a little bit later. But okay, Trista, you having any luck over there? Oh, bummer.
Just get some paper and pen, and you can be a silent film portion. I think they have
if you want, you can drop and try to get it working if you want, and or you can stand there and be mute. It's kind of up to you, but. So if you want to try and get it working and you do, let me know and we can pop you back in for a little bit. There's only about 15 minutes left of the show, but your call. But Billy and I are going to talk. Oh, okay, there she goes. Billy and I are going to talk about the Kinect no longer being included in Xbox One boxes.
Yeah.
Yay or nay?
Like I said, I'm of two minds. I think the Kinect is really awesome and super powerful. We got to mess around with it a little bit more in depth at work than I've ever seen somebody use for the as a game. And like all the stuff people can do with the Kinect is so cool and crazy. I even feel it's a little bit ahead of the curve in certain things. I mean, it's the cheapest 3D sensor you can get right now, and that's kind of crazy what you can do with it. But it's hard, I don't feel anyone's ever going to capitalize on that technology and make anything that's entertaining for it, because it's just too risky. And publishers aren't in the business of making risky decisions anymore. They're just going to play it safe and count dollars. So I'm sad that they're pulling it out, because it's not going to incentivize indies to do stuff with it. And they essentially are going to probably kill it by pulling it out of the box, as in all motion gaming has been killed almost effectively. I don't think does the wands even work with PlayStation 4.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Even if they do, there is nothing that utilizes them at this point.
Yeah, which I mean, it's fine. Like, I don't think motion gaming is all that good, anyways. I don't think anyone has made a good one. And I don't know if that's the technology, the hardware, but so pulling it out, there is a law said no one has the opportunity to make a good one isn't going to be there anymore because people are going to be afraid to make anything with that. And I also sad because I really like the voice commands I have a Kinect on my 360 and I use the voice stuff all the time, but I guess I'm weird in that where I'm like, oh, where's the remote? Oh, it's out of arm's reach. Okay, Xbox, next episode. You know, like or like, I don't know, if you're like our living room and kitchen are close to each other, so I'll be like making dinner, my hands are dirty, and I want it to pause whatever's on there. I'll just yell from my kitchen and it'll just pause because whatever's coming up seems interesting. So I'm like, all right, I need to do this. So I don't know if enough people use that, but I think that will be a disservice that'll be gone. But I think it makes sense for where they're at now. They need to get price parity with PlayStation 4. They need to make it more attractive for people to buy it because I think that $100 price difference is really getting people. So yeah, that totally makes sense. Just get rid of the Kinect, cut the $100. Hopefully, maybe in the future they'll upsell them, but I think the Kinect's essentially dead. So it totally makes sense as a financial decision and we need to get more Xboxes sold.
Yeah, I echo a lot of that. I had never. Like, I saw the Kinect as an interesting piece of technology that I would never do anything with.
Mm-hmm.
I was never going to buy one. Yeah, it's the whole, there's a camera in your living room, there's a camera on your phone, there's cameras fucking everywhere, but it did not seem great to me. We played Kinect Sports a little bit. That was kind of fun. It was not a perfect system, and people wanted it to be a perfect system, and I think that hurt it a lot.
Yeah.
Patrick on Giant Bomb wrote a really good article about kind of what a lot of people's expectations were, and there were a couple of games that were better at managing those expectations than most of them. Hey, you're back.
Did it work?
Yay!
Yay!
Laryngitis is gone. So
That's silent movies.
so we're talking about the Kinect no longer being bundled with the 360. Or not the 360, but the Xbox One.
I gotcha.
And Billy and I are kind of on the same page that while the Kinect is a cool piece of technology, I don't particularly want it, but also not having it on the market is kind of a bummer because developers aren't going to experiment with it. From what I understand, indie developers didn't have access to it anyway. From what I read in Patrick's article, is that it was basically locked out from indies anyway, maybe not indies, but kind of what was that?
Oh, the XNA games.
Yes. So that's a bummer. But again, I think it is better to have an option that does not have it bundled in if I don't want it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, that's cool, but I don't want it. Again, it's a bummer it's gone, but I'm not super brokenhearted about it.
Well, I mean, even to have developers trying to figure out something to do with it, people still don't really want it. I mean, clearly, they don't really. Nobody's really buying the system for the Kinect. It's
True.
not like I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't know what the difference was between the Wii and the Kinect because people went like bananas crazy for the Wii when it came out. It was the coolest thing. It detects my motion. Like everybody loved that. For some reason, they just didn't. I don't know if it wore off how cool it was, or if people played with the Wii and they're like, there's some things that are wrong with it.
I think Mario and Mario and Moms had something to do with that, which...
Yeah, but you would think the same
Master
thing
Chief
could
and
be
Moms
said
don't seem
for...
to die.
Yeah, the same thing should be able to be said for the Kinect, though, because, I mean, the Wii U came out, and it still didn't have as big a following, So I still think part of the issue was that it's a camera and not a sensor. Because with the Wii, it was a sensor. With the Kinect, it's a camera, and that makes people nervous.
The Wii was nowhere near as robust as the Kinect tried to be. From what I understand, the Wii, I could be wrong, but the Wii was looking for the controller, not you. Whereas
Well, the Wii, yeah, all it did is it's two IR sensors that get sent where the controller's pointing. That is all it does, and then
Right.
up and down, left and right. That's it. Like the Kinect, like some of the stuff we did with the Kinect at work is like crazy. Like it is kind of insanely powerful and totally underutilized. But no, it makes sense for them to pull it out. Like now
it does. It does.
with the price being exactly the same, the online services being exactly the same feature set wise, not in quality, obviously. The system's power being essentially exactly the same, give or take a little bit here or there. It'll literally come down to the games and the services, the quality of the services you're getting, which is going to be better for everyone because now no one has to make special features for one system versus the other. There'll be a better chance of competition, so hopefully everyone wins at the end of all this. Because like we can't have a single console future because that would be a very bleak world, and then we'll have $90 microtransaction free-to-play games.
Whatever, PC Master Race. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But
so
I do like, yeah, it'll be it's interesting because like they're racing, its interest is already increasing. Like I guess a lot of pre-orders have been sold for the Xbox One without the Kinect, which still blows my mind because, in my opinion, there is not a single game worth buying on either system yet. I don't know why anyone's buying those.
Well, you forget that the Xbox One advertised itself to everybody as being a media system. So they have a bigger market now that isn't just tied to gamers, where we as gamers are like, there's no games to play in this, I'm not going to buy that. Whereas somebody who's just now getting their first media system is just like, oh, yeah, I'm totally going to buy that. Now it's as much as this one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because like, as a gamer, I was like, okay, Watch Dogs is finally coming around, so now you should be looking into buying a next-gen console, maybe. We'll see how Watch Dogs is. But like, I have no interest in Watch Dogs, so it's Destiny for me. But
Not at all? Oh, I'm kind of excited for that game.
I can't do open world games, too many of them in a row. So between Assassin's Creed and Grand Theft Auto, I feel I've done enough open worlding to last me for like 6 months. So just getting in a car, driving to the other side of a town, and then getting out and running around, and then getting another car to drive the other side of town, no interest.
No?
I mean, maybe
I
6 months,
love
but
games like that because I have problems playing first-person shooters. I get nauseous and
yeah.
I have no sense of direction. I don't know. I can't play like an owl. I just can't do it. I need to be able to like see everything and not just have it's very disorienting for me and I hate it. So I struggle playing games that have that viewpoint.
Yeah.
So any game that's in third person, I get excited about because it's something I can actually play.
Oh, when they said Destiny was originally going to be a third-person shooter, but they switched it back to first-person, I was like, oh, come on. Like, you got your dudes with all this armor, and you're supposed to look awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason I don't like it. When we played Halo, I'm just like, I want to see my character. Like, not that I'm that vain about it, but shit, her armor looks badass. I want to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I felt the same way about Destiny. I'm like, great, now I can't play it. Because it's not even that I don't like that viewpoint, it's that physically I struggle playing through that viewpoint.
Well, just wait until we all have Oculus Rifts. It'll be even worse.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. Just vomit everywhere.
I am not excited for the Oculus Rift. Not at all.
No? Have you tried one?
No.
They look uncomfortable. And I don't know, because it just seems like something. I mean, you strap it to your head, right? I'm thinking of the right thing. You strap it to your head. How are they going to make that comfortable for everybody? You know, and I just don't know how that's. Just seems like a big issue.
I think like just the VR stuff will always. It's going to be one of these things that's just always going to be here now.
Yeah, kind of like a fringe thing.
It won't be a fringe thing like it used to be. It'll be like 3D movies. You'll have the people who are like, oh, you got to play it in the VR headset. This is my only display. This is how I do it. And then you have other people like, no, I want to play it on my 200-inch television. And that's what you're going to have. Like, go to a movie. Some people go see 3D movies. I don't like 3D, so I go see 2D movies.
As do I. I will say, however, Eve Valkyrie, I am going to keep an eye on that because it is basically going to be like Wing Commander 1, but in Unreal 4 or whatever they're using now. So it's going to look super pretty. You're going to be able to like look around the cockpit of your spaceship, and to like look at enemy fighters behind you, you're going to have to do this. So I'm pretty intrigued by that. I'm not sure I will dive into that, but I am interested to see what CCP is going. There's 2 C's? Yeah, it's 2 C's.
Yeah, it's 2 C's.
To do with that, because they seem to be super into that, and they're kind of they're expanding the Eve universe, and I am very interested in the expansion of the Eve universe, as well as the Eve history book, which is coming out. I'm really stoked about that because Eve is crazy. And I'm intrigued to read about all the crazy shit that has gone on in Eve. I will buy that.
So I was in Barnes & Noble on, was it Friday? And I saw the Eve source book there, and I was looking through it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I'm way more interested in the history book. I want to know what the players did in there in the world.
Yep, I came super close. To buying the source book. Well, it had some nice art in it and some interesting stories, but I'm intrigued to see more of the player-driven anomalies and phenomenons that happen in that game. Because, I enjoyed the month that I played. I put about 50 hours into that game, but I am not anxious to jump back into Eve because that shit's bananas.
Give me Eve Light.
That's X. Eve Light is X basically, or X Rebirth or whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
But not a whole lot else. Killing Floor 2, I keep gushing about that. I'm super excited for Killing Floor 2. I can't wait.
E3 is like in 2 weeks.
Is it?
That's what I said too. Like someone told me E3 is in June, and I was like, no, that's end of July. It's like June 10th.
Is it? It's not traditionally that early, is it?
I don't know. To me, it just seems crazy.
That seems crazy. Really.
I thought it was in May last year. No, what am I thinking of? What was in May last year?
I have no idea.
The only reason I say that is because Kurt and I watched one of the press we watched something. We watched something on the exhibit floor when we were on my family vacation. We would rent a lake, like everybody pitches in and you rent a lake house.
Yeah.
And we usually do that in May or like the end of May or the beginning of June. And I remember, I don't know if it was E3 though. It could have been. Because I remember we were sitting in the living room watching it and all of my family was like, we don't know what this is. Like, this is not interesting to anybody else. But this is when all the new consoles were coming out, so we're just like, shut up! They're gonna tell us stuff.
Oh, they might have had like separate press conferences. I don't think they were necessarily E3 conferences, but I remember last year there was a couple. Like one day, Microsoft had a press conference, and the next day Sony, or vice versa. I remember what you're talking about, but I don't think that was I don't think that was for E3 or anything.
I think it's very interesting that Jeff Gertzman said last year he was hoping that 2014 was going to be the year, to get the new get new consoles. All these cool games are going to be coming out, and he's like, it might be 2015. This year might be really bad for console people, as in
everyone. I'm even like that. Like why buy it? There's nothing to play. Like this old console generation was so long that everyone was like, yeah, new systems, new stuff, and really it's not. Like there's not any new stuff. They're just in a different box. So it's a bit of a bummer. PC Master Race. Here we go.
And it sounds like a lot of it isn't even new like IP. Like we're gonna get a lot. Well, we're gonna get more Halo. We're gonna get more Mass Effect. We'll probably get more Grand Theft Auto. We're gonna get more
I don't
every other franchise that exists
think
out
this
there.
year is going to be Dragon Age. They'll probably do Mass Effect next year,
Yeah.
So regardless,
which I'm excited about. I know you guys probably aren't, but I'm super excited.
When anyone starts over completely from scratch, well, not from scratch, it's always like, I need to see it. I need to see what they do with it, because just because it's in the universe doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good.
but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad either.
No, but I'm going to reserve any sort of excitement. Like I'm getting excited for Dragon Age, watching the videos and seeing the gameplay footage and stuff like that. Like,
Did you see the footage? Like it was like 30 minutes of gameplay footage that was leaked.
No.
yeah, I watched through that.
Yeah,
Oh.
I thought it looked pretty good.
I guess I'll have to go watch that.
I have the link if you want to. I have it saved. Sometimes when I feel excited, I watch it.
The only thing that bothers me about Dragon Age, the new one, is I feel the armor looks super generic.
Really?
Like
They
the
put
one
like a
helmet?
whole. No. Like the armor, they like revamped completely how they're gonna do the armor. Now, like, let's say Jason's a mage and you're a warrior and I'm a.
Come on, Mage, come on.
I'm sorry, Jason's a warrior.
That's better.
And whatever. There's 3 classes. Don't be that guy. Shut up. Anyway, so let's say we're all different classes. We can all wear the same armor, but it changes to you as a character. So if I'm a mage, it's gonna look like a mage's armor. If he's a warrior, it's gonna look like a warrior's armor. So there's no more wasting armor.
I hope it doesn't look like.
Too, but that image that I just posted in the little text, the chat, I'm so sick of seeing that helmet in all their marketing material. Like, that's the most generic helmet ever, and they showed it and everything.
How is that the most generic? It's a dragon.
I don't know. They just showed it and everything. Drives me crazy.
It's not even out yet. Oh my god.
So Billy's psychosis aside, everything is looking pretty slick. This chick in the background, I'm not super excited about whatever she's got going on.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm just being unfair because I know she's from Orlais. Just not a huge fan of Orlais as a country.
I like shoes.
As a fictitious country, I'm not a huge fan of Orlais. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day.
I really like the horn dudes. I forget the race of guys.
I just remember the Aeroshock. I don't remember what they're called, but.
I just told you they're called Kunari.
Oh, there you go.
Guys, I really like the new designs and the new face paint stuff for them. Like, I don't know, I'm getting more excited for that game, and it's.
Yeah. Well, see, and I've been following all of their extra media. Like now, Sten is the Aeroshock from the comic books, and they have like a new chapter book is out that's supposed to. I don't know.
Chapter book.
Focus on Orlais. Huh?
A chapter book.
Well, I mean, not a graphic novel, because they had a bunch of.
Okay. I was just like, never heard anyone call them a chapter book.
I don't know. When I said like book, I'm like, oh, people might misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
I just didn't know what you were trying. I was like, what the heck?
Book with words in it that has chapters.
That is called a book by default.
Okay.
That is what a book represents.
Shut your whore mouth. So so they have a new book coming out that focuses around Orlais, because I think this new game is you're supposed to be able to travel from country to country. You're not stuck in Ferelden or Kirkwall. You're supposed to be able to go wherever the hell you please. And apparently they're going to have mounts, which I'm kind of excited about.
On another random side note, Star Citizen has now made well beyond $44 million in crowdfunding, which is absolutely crazy.
That is nuts.
Did you see that Amplitude got its crowd goal?
Yeah, but because I think somebody threw a bunch of money at him.
Oh yeah, because they had like a day left and they were still like 100,000 short or something. And then Kurt, he's like, "Oh, they got their money," and I'm like, "From where? They had such a short amount of time."
Someone went to the bank and took out a loan.
Yep, but I mean, I think they're matching what people put in or something like that. But
yeah, I think Insomniac threw a bunch of money or something happened.
I hope they have the song "Me Con" in there. That's the best song.
So it's 9:05. and I think that's going to about do it for this week. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be the last episode for a long time, as I am out of town for the next 10 weeks or so. And we'll see what happens after summer is over, if we'll pick back up, or if Monday Night Leftovers will come back in a different form. I'm not sure yet. But
So season 1 is done. We'll just
yeah,
season.
October 10th, I think, was our first episode, and it is now May 26th. So that was a long run for the first incarnation of Monday Night Leftovers.
I was here for like 5 of them, so it didn't seem that long to me.
Missed a few weeks here and there, but it was pretty consistent. It was good stuff. So thanks to everyone who's watched. We'll see what happens after summer, but we'll be around in some capacity, either through some form or another, streaming or whatever. We'll be back in some capacity. But
We'll be on the internet.
yeah, you'll see us on the internet. So with that, I'm going to call it a night. Have a good night, everyone, and see you when you see you.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.